The mind body problem. Our difficulty in understanding why breathing might be so strategic stem in part from our Western way of looking at the world. Our perspective is based primarily on the study of material phenomena. We take solid things and analyze them physically and chemically. Our laboratory science is based on the measurement and manipulations of matter. Our physicians are trained in anatomy and physiology. Our philosophy is basically materialistic. In a similar way, our approach to understand the human being is primarily physical. It's essentially based on the study of the body, the part we can touch, the measurable aspect of our being. The scientific studies we feel most comfortable with are those which treat what is objectively observable. When our research strays from the world of material objects and attempts the study of phenomena beyond the reach of our senses, we begin to feel a bit less sure of ourselves. The question inevitable arises, is this really scientific? These doubts about the scientific validity of non physical studies are especially evident with respect to research in physiology. Yet, the mind is obviously another real level of our existence, one with which we cannot avoid coming to terms. The contemporary Westerner interest in the mind is equalized only by a uncertainty about how to approach it. It can't be dissected or measured or put in a box. It can't be put on the slides and viewed under a microscope. It can't be tested with electronic instruments. Yet, our subjective experience assures us that there is such a thing as a mind and that is it is important. We are all aware of our thoughts. We are aware that something is going on inside, and we admit, however grudgingly, that the working of our mind are in some way behind most of what we do with our physical body and how we manipulate the physical world. Yet in the West, we remain confused about the relationship between the mental realm and the tangible world. How does the physical body interact with the mind? This is more than a theoretical question. The problem of mind body interaction is one that plague our medical scientists and baffle our physiologists. When physicians fail to alter the physical body to their patent satisfactions, they throw up their hand and say the problem must be psychological. When psychologists are unable to help patient reorganize their mental world, they shrug and say perhaps you should see a medical doctor to make sure there is not some physical problem here. Patient shuttle back and forth between frustrated psychotherapists and puzzled physicians while the psychosomatic specialist would understand the integration of mind and body are yet to appear on the scene. How do the mind and body connects? Western science seems to have run into a dead end on the question, but the philosophy of the East, especially that out of which the science of yoga grew, offer a context within which some answer may emerge. For yoga includes the study of both the physical and mental realms. And these two levels of functioning constitute only a small part of the total spectrum of phenomena encompassed in the study of yoga. Since ancient time, yoga masters have spent many long hours going with themselves, studying and trying to unravel the connection existing between their various levels of existence. They discovered that beside the physical body and the mind, There are higher level of functioning which are also important. For instance, they uncovered and explored an area of consciousness beyond thought, a non conceptual level of heightened and broadened awareness that could only be approached by stepping outside the arena of our everyday thinking process. The technique of inward attentions, which allows one to explore this level of consciousness, is called meditation. Meditation is the method used to deal with those levels of human functions operating beyond the mind, what we might call higher consciousness. Meditation is not, however, the only aspect of yoga. Yoga also include physical postures, asanas, which teach the practitioner to control, regulate, and be aware of his or her physical body. Then there are practice that have to do with the manipulation and regulation of purely mental functions. Concentrations, for instance, yoga understands the human as a multi-willed being, one with a series of distinct levels of existence, the physical, the mental, and what lies beyond the mind. But in our discussions so far, we have omitted mention of another important level which lies between the mind and the body. For according to yoga, the mind and the body do not directly interact, rather, they relate to each other by way of intermediate layer of functioning. The indifference of Western scientists to the possibility of such an intermediate state is perhaps why for them the relationship between body and mind is so obscure. This may be why we have been struck in with a mind body dualism, which seems to split our science of man asunder, leaving it into separate and irreconcilable camps, that of the physiologist and humanist, and that of the physical scientist and laboratory researchers. Hard nosed scientists are sure that anything worthy of study is physically and material. If they wish to deal with man's action and behavior, they limit themselves to studying and measuring the movement of the body, the production of speech, or an individual test performance. If they think of themselves as psychologists, they prefer to label themselves behavior scientist. The mind itself they dismiss, convinced that it is not amenable to study. This seems to be a trend of the times, though in the past decade or two, the holistic health movement has begun to push open the door to broader awareness, a portal through which a handful of pioneering physicians and researchers have begun to step. Fortunately, in the East and in particular among the practitioners of meditation, the relationship between the body and the mind has been thoroughly explored and found to constitute an intermediate link relating the body and the mind. It has its own properties and its own topography. Moreover, it is explicitly taught that this intermediate level has to do primarily with energy.